Okay, good afternoon. This is Sarah Shannon, owner of Shannon Educational Consulting Curriculum and Tutoring, which is also the website shannonconsultingcurriculumtutoring.com. I'm doing a quick video today on my text how to write a narrative story, 7 steps to write a narrative story. This has always been very successful with students I've used it with in the past, so that's why I thought it would be good to do a real quick mini lesson tutorial on how you would use this particular text. So I would pass all the copies out, all of these all out to the students, and I would just go over to them, what the characteristics of the 7 steps to writing a quick narrative story are, and I would just show them when I'm doing something similar to this. And so this is for students that absolutely have no idea. I've had students that come to me and they would say, I would give a lesson, I would model for them. I would use the guided release strategy to be able to show them how to, write a narrative story, and I would put them in groups, and I would have them work independently, and they would just come to me at the end and say, I don't know what to do. So I started modifying my instruction, and that's what made me create this worksheet. Had 7 steps to write a narrative story for the reluctant writer and those that don't have any idea what to do. So if you look here on the wall here, so first of all, I wanted to review the story map element. Do we know there's 5 story map elements that are most near the stories? There's the setting, the characters, the problem, the action events that happen to try to solve the problem, and the following resolution, how the problem was solved. So the 5 characteristics of story, most narrative stories are: there's a setting, starts off with the setting, then it goes into introducing the characters, it starts getting into the problem, and then there's action events that try to happen to try to solve the problem, then finally there's the problem resolution, the following resolution, how the problem is solved. There are 5 steps to the story map element process, just to review. And this is also called the plot element. So that's the rising action, which includes the setting, characters, and problem. Climax, which is the highest point of the story, and then finally the following resolution or problem resolution, which are also called plot elements. They change throughout the year, so that's a different way of saying story map elements. But there are 5 story map elements, or you can use those following: action, climax, and problem resolution. But students need to know that background. So I have the 7 steps written up here on this wall. The first step, if you'll look here, is create a scene by opening with an interesting introduction. The thing you want to do is and students will have this worksheet in front of them as you're going over this with them, and you would have to model it for them after you go introduce it to them. So first step is create a scene by opening with interesting introduction. Show students examples or just talk to them about, how most stories that you read, they open up with some type of interesting introduction. They say, wow, what was that strange noise I heard downstairs? Or who's that cool person I saw walking down the street? Or what a great day it's going to be. They open up with some type of quotation or some type of onomatopoeia or some type of interesting introduction to catch the reader's attention. Second step. Step 2, state your position. Let the reader know who you are and where. Students have been very successful with this strategy in the past. These 7 steps, they've responded very well to this particular strategy in the past, these 7 steps. The second step, let the reader know who you are and where you are. You have to let the reader know who you are and where you are, what's going on. So after you say the first step and you review this with them again, which is create a story by opening with an interesting introduction. Hey, what was that strange noise I heard downstairs? And the second step is let the reader know who you are and where you are. I was walking in my basement when I heard a strange noise from nowhere. First, review again. First step, create a scene by opening with an interesting introduction. Hey, what was that strange noise I heard downstairs? Step 2, let the reader know who you are and where you are. I was walking in my basement when I heard a strange noise out of nowhere. If you're on the beach, it's a beautiful day on the beach. First step, create a scene by opening with an interesting introduction. Second step, let the reader know who you are and where you are. I was walking on the beach, minding my own business and looking at the sunset. Second step. Begin to elaborate on something in your story. It could be a person, place, or thing. This is when you begin to elaborate on something in your story. If you're on a beautiful beach, talk about how beautiful the beach is. What sights do you see? What sounds do you hear? What smells do you smell? What's going on with those? So, if you're in a basement, talk about how dark it is. Talk about how scary it is. Talk about how you can hear the washing machine, going, rolling around in circles or whatever is going on in the scene. Talk about what's happening in the scene and elaborate on something in the scene, a person, place, or thing. Fourth step. Get into your problem, make sure you elaborate on something in your problem. So then into your problem, start talking about what you're writing the story about. And I talk to my students about how if you read a story, everybody's happy in the beginning, middle, and end. It's a boring story. So you want to get in some type of problem, be able to solve to be able to keep the reader attention, and that also goes along with the characteristics of story elements, which I'll get back to at the end of this if this video doesn't cut off, and then I have part 2 if it does. So you get into your problem. So if you're at the setting, your character is on the beach, what's going to be a problem on the beach? Think about what kind of problems you could have on the beach. If you're setting characters in the basement, what kind of problems could you have in the basement? So start getting into some type of problem and then elaborate on your problem. If there's a monster in the basement, then talk about the monster's, the characteristics. If there's a beautiful princess on the beach trying to, with the bottle in her hand or a genie, then talk about the beautiful princess and elaborate on, what she looks like and, or the bottle or, something that's elaborating and getting to the problem at that particular step. Okay, then step 5, talk about your feelings about what is going on. Now you have to get into your feelings. This is really good because it helps create a really structured, organized way of writing your instruction, your writing piece. Talk about your feelings. If it's something that's scary, talk about how scared you are. My heart started beating in anticipation of what was going on. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. What am I going to do about this? Talk about your feelings for just a few minutes about how you feel about what's going on. I was so happy I saw Corbin Frame. I can't believe I saw him. This is a dream come true, depending on the particular story that you're writing. Step 6, get into your action and try to solve the problem. 1 to 3 action events. Start having 1 or 3 action events to try to solve the problem. If there's a witch in your basement, do you try to run from the witch? Do you scream and yell for help? What do you do to try to solve the problem? If you're on the beach and you see a genie with the bottle, what do? Do you try to come up with 3 wishes? I mean, you have to start thinking about and brainstorming what you would do to be able to try to solve the problem. Step 7, solve your problem. Don't forget to elaborate even. Step, just try to solve your problem. So it's going to take some brainstorming. It's going to take some modeling for you as the teacher to be able to walk through the process with them, the gradual release method, and just show them step 1, how do you do this? Step 2, how do you do this? Step 3, and then if you look in my story here, I'll show you. If you look here in my story, you'll see that I have everything pulled together. And this is on my website, Shannon Educator. Sorry, excuse me. If you put all 7 steps, you see them pulled together. Sorry, I didn't get my nails done. Sorry about that, I didn't get my nails done. But anyway, so all 7 steps are pulled together. So if you do that and you repeat it with them, remember repetition is a very effective strategy. And you model it for them, you walk on with them, and you allow them to work in groups with help each other out, and then working on it independently. And you give a variety of different opportunities to be able to practice it by modeling good modeling strategies for them. Book pieces of literature. Given technology aspects to add to this. And then if you do it over the year, they're going to be great writers by the end of the year. And my students have responded very well to this in the past. When I've used this strategy with them, I actually have them memorize it. They memorize all 7 steps. I quiz them and I ask them what are the 7 steps to writing their story, and they tell me the 7 steps back, and then they show it to me. It's not going to be easy at first because it takes thinking. It's a very Bloom's taxonomy talks about those higher processes of thinking skills. It takes a lot to pull all this together for them. They're babies. They're only 8, 9 years old if you have 3rd and 4th graders. So it takes a lot, but with practice, repetition, you modeling for them, they're going to do great. You're going to master how to write a narrative story.